Hello everyone and welcome to Oz. In this episode we will be focusing on where the Red Brick Road goes. Now in the original books, the Red Brick Road goes to basically where the Munchkins live, but in my world they're going to lead to something else. Now I'm not going to tell you in this episode where that leads, but it's going to be very exciting. Let's just jump straight into it. The first thing I did was hollow out the mountain. I didn't want the Red Brick Road to go over the mountain. I thought it would be quite cool if I put it in a cave, because in Return to Oz there are faces in the stone. Now these faces, they spy on Dorothy and her friends, and they report back to the Gnome King. I just thought it'd be a fun little reference to that, because most people who explore this world when the download comes out, they're going to be going to the Emerald City, they're going to be going to the Witch's Castle. I don't know how many people are actually going to go down the Red Brick Road, because I don't know how many people will think that there is something there, but I promise there will be, and it'll be very, very cool. I made the walls and floor stone just as a placeholder. The next thing I did though was actually make some mountains on the other side, because I realized that this Red Brick Road doesn't have anywhere to actually come out because of the way I built Munchkin Land before I had World Edit. I just built it as like this big floating structure when obviously I need it to be solid. So I made a mountain on the other side and I made an exit of this mountain. If you want a more detailed example on mountains, I do actually have a video specifically on World Edit mountains in this particular world, which you can go and watch. But essentially, I made the arch with a non-gravity block and then I put gravity blocks around it and coloured it, and I think it looks quite nice. Obviously, all of this is subject to change. I literally just wanted like a foundation. I wanted a base because of what I'm going to put on the other side of this Red Brick Road. What I'm going to put on the other side of this Red Brick Road is going to have its own mountains. So I wanted to, as I said, literally just get a rough idea so that I could actually build the tunnel. Now the fun part. In the tunnel, I played around with some different ways to make faces. I used some grey lamps and some red lamps from the Pyrite mod. I ultimately decided to go with the red lamps because I thought they stood out a bit more, they looked a bit more freaky, and also I'm fairly certain in the Return to Oz film that the eyes do glow red at some point. It looks cool. This isn't a truthful interpretation. It is my interpretation of the world of Oz. I added some shadowing, a little bit of texture, some blocks sticking out, some stairs and stuff in the walls, just to again make it a bit more interesting, make it feel a bit more like a cave, because the idea is that it's been hollowed out. So it's not a natural cave, it is a man-made cave, but there's still some remnants of that natural feel. Usually with shading in stone, I usually use deep slate and tuff, but in this I wanted to do something different, so I used some stone bricks and some cobblestone bricks. I also made the entrance to the tunnel a little bit more interesting. I made it feel a little bit overgrown, a little bit mossy, basically made it look a bit like a cave entrance, but again, it is man-made, so it needs to look somewhat neat, but also have that natural feel. I thought about putting vines covering the entrance, and I might do that. Let me know what you think. I think the vines personally would look out of place because there aren't vines anywhere else, but the problem is I don't want the vines to just be growing everywhere, all in the wrong place. I then, for lighting, put some candles on the ground and put some glow lichen on the walls. Now for the Gnome King. Now the film Return to Oz is a very freaky film. I loved it growing up, and the Gnome King was always freaky to me, but I loved the fact that he wore the ruby slippers. Obviously in the original books they're silver slippers, not ruby slippers. That's an MGM copyright thing. That's what they did to show the Technicolor, and then it came through in the Return to Oz film, which, by the way, the Return to Oz film was directed for a few days each by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, weirdly, because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure a new studio took over, they fired the director, everybody hated that. Nobody wanted that director fired. So then Steven Spielberg came in for a few days, George Lucas came in for a few days, and they basically said, we will direct this film until you bring back that old director. And then they finally did, and he was able to finish the film. And I have to say, I might put TikTok somewhere in this world because I absolutely love TikTok, the robot. I'm gonna put a picture of him on screen. Oh my god, I love him. I think he's so cute. Anyway, for the Gnome King, I wanted to make the throne out of stone. Obviously, it all kind of needs to be out of stone, and I used the armor stand mod to make him. I used dyed leather to make both the ruby slippers and his kind of stone body. I might add to this, I'm not 100% sure. But I used a skeleton skull for his head because I thought a wither skeleton skull was just too much. It was just too dark. And then I managed to place a netherite helmet on him at such an angle that it actually fits him and suits him, and I think it looks quite cool. I think it looks quite menacing, and that's what I want. I want menacing because he's not a nice character. Now, in Return to Oz, the Scarecrow has gone missing and Dorothy needs to basically, there's a bunch of ornaments. She needs to touch the ornaments and say Oz, and if she guesses which ornament the Scarecrow has been turned into within 3 guesses, she gets him back. And they figure out that the green ornaments are the people from Oz, because Oz has basically been overtaken by the Wheelers and the evil queen. Everyone's been turned to marble. The heads of young women have been taken for the queen, stuff like that. It's a very dark story. It starts with Dorothy having electroshock therapy or something absolutely crazy like that. But basically, I wanted to hint at these green ornaments. So I used, again, the armor stand mod to put some stuff lying around. I used the turtle helmet. What's it called? I don't remember. But I thought that would be quite cool to have leaning on the wall. There's an emerald leaning on the wall, and I think there's an emerald button as well, just placed on the ground. I also gave the Gnome King a spear, because I thought it made him a little bit more menacing. I used some signs on the stone to make it look like the faces were in the stone, because there isn't quite enough space to actually put in the upside down stairs and the lamps. On the next part of the tunnel, because this is quite a long tunnel, I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting, so I put a little bit of a dripstone section, and I used some brown candles as well as the grey and light grey candles. I also tried something different with a flashback file, so let me know if it works or if it just makes you feel sick. And here we are at the entrance of the tunnel. Let's change the time of day, actually. This is quite cool. You see all the overgrown stuff blends in a little bit. I also used walls. There's no block behind this, so that it looks like a vertical slab. This to me looks like a secret door. Let me know if you think I could do something with that. That could be quite cool. As you can see here, I made a little bit of a smile. I think I only did this on 2 or 3 of them, just because they look a little bit weirder. They look a little bit more creepy, and it's kind of a tiny bit more obvious that it's a face. Although let me know if you just think it looks goofy. I also put some just lone eyes without stairs for mouths, because I mean, why not? Got some cracks in the walls. Maybe I can update some of these stone bricks so that they're cracked stone bricks. And then come around here, we have the Gnome King. I did put some barrier blocks here just because I don't want people going in, just in case, the armor stands get messed up, or just, I don't know, just something. Where I can put barrier blocks, I think I will be putting barrier blocks. And you can see with shaders, this looks quite cool. Although these are really bright in these shaders, that's a bit better. A little bit more subtle, and we still have the colored lighting. And then down here, we have the dripstone part. Maybe I can extend some of this dripstone. Maybe this one can go to the floor. Oh, I forgot I could put it on the floor. Okay, yes, actually, that's a better idea than what I did before. Let's put some little bits on the floor. I might extend this. I'm not 100% sure. Again, literally just let me know what you actually think, because I am open to ideas. I will say though, no Wicked. Stop talking about Wicked, please. Because this world is my interpretation of Oz, and I don't want to use Wicked as a reference It's not that I dislike it, that's just my personal taste. And then here we have some pink candles kind of creeping in, and then the red brick road is starting to go a little bit pink. Can anybody guess why? We have more pink candles here, of course. These pink candles look so cool with the Kappa shaders. I do love coloured lighting. I hope we get it in just vanilla Minecraft at some point. I know they're working on it, but that doesn't mean that it will be soon. I did add little bits of blackstone in this arch just to make it a little bit darker, but it's quite a contrast between the deep slate and the blackstone. So maybe I can find a transition block. Right, hear me out. Just for tiny, tiny bits, little bit more detail. Honestly, I think that works. It's a different hue. The pale wood is certainly a different hue to the rest of the blocks, but I think this is okay. Maybe I'll tweak it in between episodes, but I mean, you know, for the most part, that to me, weirdly, looks okay. There we go, I think that's fine. Yeah, actually, that's okay. It looks a little bit strange, but I think it's okay because it's kind of pinky, so it kind of looks like the pink brick, or, you know, the pink road is sort of reflecting. This looks so cool with the coloured candles. It just, oh, I love it. I'm gonna end here with Kappa shaders on and the Gnome King behind me. Thank you very much for watching this little episode. Well, I think it'll be a shorter, I don't know. Let me know what you think is gonna go where the pink brick road leads. I'm very excited for it, actually. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, leave hype points, etc. All that good stuff, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.